of the alcohol, la 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 la. Just line 'em up and we will drink them all, la 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 la. But my mother always said, if you want to drink all day, you best start in the morning, son, 'cause that's the Irish way. We don't get drunk, we get awesome, and every other mother will agree. We don't get drunk, we get awesome, so order up around for you and me. We don't get drunk, we get awesome, and every mother must agree. We don't get drunk, we get awesome, so order up around for you and me, and you and me, and you and me. Let there be whiskey!
Hey, everybody. Welcome once again to Nerds with Alcohol. I'm Rose.
And I'm Chris.
And this is episode 181. 181 in our virtual nerd basements, guys. This is, again, continuing our quarantine broadcast and our Twitch streaming. Hope you're enjoying it. We're still kind of new at it. You'll excuse us. We're a little late because we had some technical difficulties.
Yet again.
But,
it's the same
again.
technical difficulties over and over and over again. We would think that... I thought we'd figure it out by now, and I thought we had, but every week it seems to be the same things popping up, and even though I do the same things to fix it, it doesn't seem to fix it.
Exactly. It's one of those things that it's just like... We don't understand what it is that's causing the problem, and then we end up having to reboot, or if it's not my headset, or then it's the stuff on your end,
or it's both, like tonight.
Or it's both, yeah. Where we have to turn it off and turn it on again.
Yep. Have you tried turning it off and turning it back on? Oh, speaking of that, I'm going to turn my phone off right now.
That's what we did. And that's what we had to do tonight. So, we are in week 2 of the world-changing apocalypse that is 2020.
Yes.
Well, it's actually we're halfway through the year of world-changing 2020, but specifically some of the most intense, most incredible things that have happened this year have happened in the last 2 weeks. We had a pretty heavy episode last week, so I don't want to be exceedingly as heavy this week, but I do feel like it is valid and worth pointing out that some pretty massive changes are beginning and happening all around the country. Things like Minnesota or Minneapolis is going to be pretty much disbanding their police department and rebuilding it from the ground up.
Yeah, they've at least voted to make some radical changes. Yeah. Yeah,
exactly. The people the cops that killed George Floyd, Chauvin, who was the main perpetrator, his charge had been upped to second degree, second degree. They changed the charges to be more intense. They also did charge the other 3 cops. And that's the other thing too. Unfortunately, we're seeing a lot of conflicting reports, a lot of conflicting information, things being put on the internet, and everybody is a conspiracy theorist these days now.
Of course.
Saying all these different things. And I did actually watch the video, a lot more of the video of what happened that day, and I mean it's definitely evident that the cops were in the wrong, particularly at the end when they had him on the ground and were
there is
choking the life
well,
out.
And that's the thing. There's no reason. There is a subdual tactic to put your knee in the back of someone's back, or even on their right at the base of their shoulders. That is a subdual tactic if they're resisting. He wasn't resisting.
Right. No, exactly. And he wasn't violent. He wasn't angry.
It wasn't a violent crime.
No, and the worst that he had gotten, he struggled a little bit because he had said that he was claustrophobic and was having trouble, didn't want to go into the car. Well, was there really even any reason to put him in the car? It's just ridiculous. We're also seeing, or different things. I had to call out somebody who there was a pretty dramatic picture was posted, pretty incredible picture of a homeless, an elderly homeless man had been hit in the face with shot in the face with a rubber bullet. He was bleeding profusely, and he was just in a wheelchair. And a young woman I've known, actually, not a young woman, she's in her mid-30s. She's the same age as my sister, grew up with my little sister. And she was like, well, I got 4 questions when a mutual friend had posted that picture. Was this after curfew?
Yeah.
Why was he there? Why is he not wearing pants? Things like that. And I'm like, listen, I understand that there are different, viewpoints on this, and there are different, people have different opinions and stuff like that. I don't care what your opinion is of homelessness. I don't care that he wasn't wearing pants, or that he wasn't where he was supposed to be, whether it was last week or last year. He was an elderly man in a wheelchair and should not have been shot in the face with a rubber bullet the size of a shot glass or larger. Mm-hmm. It was her attitude was sickening to me. I was evidently mad. I was one of the first times I was like, there were a lot of F-bombs in this statement. And it wasn't like, and then the next day she was like, well, I saw her on another post saying, well, I spoke up about something I got cussed at. I'm like, I didn't cuss at you. I cussed near you. It was like, it was more about the idea of like, how is that your attitude? How is that your takeaway? Well, what was he doing? If he wasn't breaking the law, then the cops wouldn't be called on him. And that's the big fucking problem right there.
Yep.
Is the idea that it's that conservative white privilege, white attitude where they're all like, well, if you don't get involved in crime, then you won't have to worry about the police. No, that's not the point. The police,
and that's not. And unfortunately, we have learned, especially in the last week and a half, that that's not the case.
Exactly. I mean, and you speaking as somebody that was looking into becoming a police officer for a while.
Yep.
You were a reserve, weren't you a reserve?
I was a reserve for 3 years, and I really loved it. And one of the reasons that I stopped being a reserve was because it was one of those things that I truly loved. I truly loved. I was looking at getting into the police. There's 2 types of people that get into police work, and unfortunately, one of them is the ones that wind up being the bad apples a lot of times, and that's the guys that are in it for the power.
Sure.
And then
the ones that want to.
Yes. And then there's the other ones, which is what I was really the reason I was looking into going into it is that you truly believe in protect and serve.
Correct.
And you want to help people. You want to help the community. You want to do right. Yeah. If you break the law, I had no problems hooking up a drunk if he was out driving. Mm-hmm. Because that's a danger to everybody else. But, if you're cool, there were also nights, and I'll admit this, there was a night we gave a drunk a ride home. Because he was mostly cooperative, and he didn't have any priors. And we're like, you know what? We're going to go ahead and take you home.
And you give him a break.
Yep. But, but for the most part, I actually really enjoyed it, and the reason I got out of it was because it was one of those things that I could see taking over my life because I did love it so much. It became so much that's it. I was doing it so much, and it was taking up so much of my time, and I had so many other things going on that there was one thing I had to give up, and I wound up giving that up because it was either give that up or it was going to become my life. And at the time I couldn't. At the time I just couldn't do that. So.
Right. So we have, thankfully though, we've seen things like this week, just today. I don't know what the results were yet, but just today, the city council, the city representatives met with a number of the protesters today. I don't know if they were protest leaders or whatnot, but met with protesters today to discuss changes that can be instituted here in Michigan and the Detroit area particularly. That's pretty great. We also saw things like, that 75-year-old man who had been shoved down in, I think it was Buffalo, New York,
Buffalo.
and started bleeding from the head. He was an activist. He was a peace activist. From what I understand, he had a helmet in his hand and was trying to give it back to one of the police officers, and they just shoved him to the ground. One officer tried to help him after he started, specifically bleeding profusely from the ear, and another cop pulled him away. No. Pretty much the two officers that shoved him were fired, and then apparently in solidarity, the entire emergency response team then quit, to back up those cops.
Fuck them.
Fuck them. They didn't stop being police, but they did stop being part of that emergency response team. Okay, great. Maybe that's what we don't need are cops that act like that. That are I'm going to be in an emergency response team that are going to not respond to the emergency, just respond to the violence and adrenaline. It's really, really fucking sad, when that kind of stuff happens. Unfortunately, like I said, there's still a lot of work to be done. There is a lot of support that's being given to these negative and just the wrong kinds of attitudes are being given. Like the guy that runs he's the head of the police union in Minnesota.
Oh man, that guy is a fucking asshole.
In Minneapolis, I believe, and he is horrible. He is a Trump supporter, which doesn't alone make him horrible, but he is a avid Trump supporter, and avid one of these alpha male idiots that he's like just downright horrible. He has tweeted and said things apparently that then the police department has had to say, no, he does not represent us. He is representing an organization of police, Friends of the Police or something like that. Or it could be somebody different, but there was somebody else that was doing that too. I believe that it was in. I should get this right, but I unfortunately don't have the information in front of me. But there was some tweets that went out from a Friends of Police department, like a community group or whatever, that includes police officers that are offering, like say, hey, we're hiring here to the people that have been fired, to all these cops that have been fired because of what they've done wrong. Just shit like that. It's things that are needing to be dealt with. On my main page, if you want to go to my main page, I may put it on the Nerds Without Call page. I don't know. There's a link to John Oliver's show of last week.
I just watched that last night, and holy shit.
It was on YouTube. Right. It is on YouTube. It's a link. The entire episode is on YouTube. It's 33 minutes. I believe it's well worth the watch.
Yep.
It's very
I don't agree. I don't agree with everything he said in that, just from the perspective of being on the other side. But most of it, yeah, he's 100% right.
Exactly, and this is coming from an Englishman.
Yep.
This is coming from a guy. He is an outside, to some extent.
He's been here for a long time.
Well, he has been here from a long time, but he has the perspective of also being, from another country. And he gives us a lot of information. It's peppered with jokes and peppered with comments about, Donald Trump and things like that, and some of the things that he's done.
He is very left-wing. Let's face it.
Right, he is very left-wing, and he is...
And his show is generally a comedy show.
It is a comedic commentary show, similar to The Daily Show, which is where he came from. But at the same time, it's still factual information. He fact-checks himself. He shows, he goes to the opposition, and he backs up what he has to say with things. He closes the show with a really, really powerful commentary from a black woman who
she's an
author. I don't know. Yeah, she's an author, but she's also was part of the demonstrations and stuff, and it's pretty incredible the statements that she makes. So it's really just something. Guys, whatever you're doing out there, if you're protesting, please be careful, please be safe. From what I understand, the protests have evened out a bit more. There are more of them. They're spreading out into the suburbs and into the surrounding cities. They're not just in the downtown areas anymore. And from what I understand, they've particularly the ones in the surrounding areas have maintained civility and peacefulness.
There was one today over at Shaner and Hull Road.
Oh, really? Oh, okay,
and
great. Over in your neck of the woods.
The Sterling Heights police were out there. I actually saw a little snippet of it on Facebook. It was the news was out there live, and the protesters were trying to get the police to show any sign of solidarity, and the cops that were all lined up there all just gave thumbs up, and that was all they do. But
it's something, I mean, it's there are these police officers. You got to be careful too what you're seeing, because they're showing images and video of police kneeling with protesters, walking with protesters, but then half an hour later they're called to arms because they because of other things that happened. There was another point I had seen of apparently some white nationalists, some Nazis, let's just call them what they are, so walking in a protest, and there were police escorting them too. Now it looked more like to me, and the argument was they're just the cops are doing their jobs. They're making sure that those people have the same right to march as the protesters in the right. I get that understanding. I still feel that maybe some cops that are marching with a protester group that's protesting against police violence, it's a little different from cops that are in uniform that are doing their job, escorting a protest so they don't get, attacked because they are Nazis. I mean, yes, I'm kind of I am in favor of punching a Nazi, but at the same time, I'm also in favor of them having the right, the basic right of speech that everybody in this country has. It may be ugly, and it may be awful, and it may be hate speech to some extent, but they do have the right to speak it. I believe, I don't know, isn't hate speech, isn't there like a law against hate speech?
I think there is, yeah.
So you can't speak hate speech, but you can still speak?
Yeah, there's certain ways around it, but yeah.
Freedom of protest or freedom, I don't know, I can't remember. I should know this. We should all know this. We really should.
Our president sure as fuck should know this stuff, but...
and on top of it, I saw probably one of the further dumbing himself down today when he made a post about, or a tweet about how he was saying that the 75-year-old man who had been shoved down and had received a head wound, calling him potentially an agent provocateur.
Yeah.
And saying that he fell harder than he could have, and that was fake, and that the man was bleeding from the ears, okay? I could even say it would have been mildly possible if he had started bleeding from the mouth, maybe he had a blood capsule in his mouth or something. He was a 75-year-old man who was bleeding from the ears after having been shoved down by cops. This was not an agent provocateur. It's not some kind of Antifa,
A friend of mine, a friend of mine posted a thing. It was a picture of Trump making fun of that reporter that had the physical handicap, and from when he was on the campaign trail before he was even elected, and it said, "I still can't believe that this wasn't the end of this."
I know, right? He has done so many things that has made me go, I can't believe it. I can't believe why. Why? How could people still vote for him after seeing these kinds of things? The cruelty that is inherent in this man is evident. It's evident that the people that support him are okay with the cruelty. It's like that post that I put on my Facebook page about that listed all the things that Trump supporters were okay with because of the things that he has done. And the man is an outright criminal, and he is an immoral,
narcissistic,
fascist, racist criminal. And unfortunately, I just don't understand how anybody can not see that. Just from the things that misogynistic, and from what I understand now, quite possibly a child molester. So. Thanks to his connection with Jeffrey Epstein. So I am going to be very, very... It's going to be interesting to see in 20 years, or possibly in 10 years, whatever, after he's out of office, and when the documentaries start happening, when the information starts coming out, particularly after the man dies, I'm sure, when people are going to be like, nope, these are the things that he did.
Yeah.
These are the things I'm coming clean. I'm coming out. I'm going to tell everybody that these are the monstrous things this man did.
So,
and it's going to be interesting to see that.
So just talking about the protests and stuff again, though, just for a second, because I saw on on Twitter actually, and this is actually one of the greatest things I think I've ever seen, is someone had a sign that said, "When a town's guard attacks a party member, we all roll for initiative."
Yeah, exactly. That's a really good. I love that. That's a really good analogy there. So,
to the nerd world, yeah.
To the nerd world. It's so like I said, guys, just be aware, be wise, be.
Oh yeah, that's something you forgot.
Be mindful.
You forgot when in your description of Trump is liar, flat out liar. Pathological liar.
And yeah, I'm just done. I actually had unfriend people this week because of some of these things. I have done my best to try and be understanding, and I've said this before on the show. I've done my best to try and be understanding about people's beliefs, different political views, different beliefs. But I just honestly, I really feel like I can't associate with people that are willing to accept him as a positive thing and as a president. It's one thing to be conservative. Yep. You can still be conservative, and I can still be your friend. But if you are a supporter of Donald Trump, I just can't associate it with you. It's just not. Well,
there was a thing I saw that was on a friend's page, and it said, somebody said something about, you'll unfriend someone over politics, and they said, no, I will not unfriend someone over politics. I will unfriend someone over morals.
Right. Exactly. The fact that he ordered. And you can't say that he didn't tell them to do that. He ordered the gassing of peaceful protesters so that they would get out of his way, so he could go and take a shitty fucking photo op in front of that church.
Yeah, holding up a book he's never read.
So that is evident right there that he's a fucking monster, that he doesn't know, he doesn't care, and I think that's the intrinsic problem, one of the intrinsic problems we're having with our political system, and not to get too on a rant here.
I don't want to get on a rant here.
Is the fact that we have too many old rich men that are in power, that are looking to increase their power and protect their assets and protect their consolidate themselves, protect their power base and whatnot. They don't give a shit about the American people. They don't give a shit about what's right. They just care about special interests. And I mean, I'm not saying all politicians, but there's just too many of them that are like that.
You want some other good news that I saw today on online when I was looking stuff up for the show?
Yes, please.
Amy McGrath, who is running against Mitch McConnell in Kentucky, has taken a narrow lead in the polls.
Oh, really? Yes.
Now we'll see if it actually pans out at the actual polls. It depends on I'm sure it depends on who you polled. Kentucky, actually, having lived there, Louisville and Lexington are both very blue. The rest of the state is very red. So
it's that's very common.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of cities, a lot of the more urban areas, the more
college towns
and stuff. A lot of the cities have more of a blue kind of way of voting, whereas then the larger rural areas tend to be a lot more red.
Dude,
which is
I'll tell you
dangerous.
What, I will go down to Kentucky and throw a goddamn party if McConnell gets out. I wanted that fucker out when I lived there.
Unbelievable. I will say one thing though too. one of the things, the mistakes that people are making, Nancy Pelosi and I guess a number of Democrats kind of knelt in a protest photo, and they were all wearing African scarves of like a certain African fabric. I can't remember what it was called specifically. Once again, an important note I should know. But it was one of those things that they likened it to a photo op kind of situation, similar to what Donald Trump did with the Bible in front of the church, showing these politicians saying, "See, we care, we give a shit."
Yep.
Okay, stop doing these platitudes
and actually do fucking something.
And do something. Exactly. Don't. I mean, people go on and on about Nancy Pelosi. They talk about that she's evil, that she's just the opposite side of the coin, the whole thing. I don't believe that's the case. I don't believe she's an evil woman, but I do think that these old people need to stop making these mistakes. I think that photo op, that kneeling photo op, I think it was meant to be a positive message. I think that they were trying to do something nice, but that's not what we need right now. We don't need you to do these like I said, these photo opportunities that are just like going to make you look better. We need them to do shit. We need them to change things for the better and do their freaking jobs, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Care about what's going on with us, you know, as opposed to, you know, the status quo. You know, like I said, the episode of Last Week Tonight with John Oliver, that the link that I posted it throws out a lot of really strong facts and really, really amazing things. Talks about how we've revered police, like the idea of police over the years. The fact that, we have dozens and dozens of TV shows. One of my favorite shows, a couple of my favorite shows right now, are cop shows. I'm a big fan of Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Granted, it's a comedy, but, you know, huge fan. I also really like The Rookie with Nathan Fillion. One of my favorite shows as well. Both shows, all about cops, all about police work, you know. And, you know, so it's just kind of an example of how we venerate police and venerate the cops. We can still do that, but the police need to be better. This situation needs to improve. One thing that they had talked about, and this is one of the last things we're going to talk about on the subject, is that, and I heard some police talk about this, it's in that video, where cops are now doing, because they've defunded so many unfunded so many different programs in government, that the police are now forced to do things that 25 years ago, 30 years ago, they didn't have to do. They didn't have to go after. You know, you call the cops about homeless problems. You call the cops about, domestic squabbles and different problems and things that police are forced to respond to that they shouldn't have to respond to, that something like a social worker or somebody else better trained would be better for, or differently trained. I think, you know, that's something we need to maybe push forward and push towards, is more training for other, you know, and other kinds of officers or other kinds of jobs that handle things that the cops don't have to handle. Mm-hmm. You know, I saw another post about how there was an entire thing about making the cops able to respond to, you know, that the only things they would have to respond to are violent crime and, you know, by, like, say, taking away the war on drugs, you know, things like that. I mean, just, and then on top of it too, better training and more training. I saw a meme about how cops in several other countries, Iceland, Norway, some of these other countries, have 2 to 3 years of training, college level training, before they become a cop. What do we have? 6 months. I
saw somebody today hold up a sign saying barber school requires 1,150 hours of training. Cops, 840.
Yeah, my friend Jess is a hairdresser, and it took her 1,300 hours to get certified to cut somebody's hair. If she uses a razor, If she uses a straight razor, she's even more training. A police officer wielding a gun and other dangerous,
Yep.
weapons that can maim, hurt, and kill. Less training involved than cutting somebody's hair.
Yep.
That's incredible to me. It's incredible to me, and I am not a conspiracy theorist. I am not one of those guys that signs into that stuff. But I gotta admit, there is a lot of evidence to state about you gotta follow where the money goes, and about how much money policing makes, how much money the for-profit prison industry makes, which is directly connected, how much money the further training of police officers goes, and like how much money is made, outfitting the police officers in this country with weapons and armor and uniforms, all these other things.
As a reserve, now granted, I wasn't a fully sworn police officer, but I was a reserve. I had less than 200 hours of training.
And that's not enough, man. I'm sorry, that's not enough. I mean, and being a reserve, you're the kind of guy that they're going to call in for situations like this. You would be the one that they'd be like, hey, there's a riot going on downtown. We need all hands on deck. We're going to give you a call.
Yep.
And
yeah, I tended to get called out for things like power outages and directing traffic and things like that. But I also did ride-alongs, and so I was involved. I did pull my gun once.
So that right there. I also want to make one thing clear too. The idea, a lot of people are up in arms about the whole statement, defund the police. Defund the police does not mean
get rid of the police.
Do away with the police. It means it's basically a shortened way of saying the police department needs to be reevaluated and reformed, re-educated. It's basically just a short way of saying that the entire police department idea of police needs to be
to an extent, yes, but to some people, though, and I haven't educated myself completely on it, but a lot of it is about getting rid of the current state of the police department and completely reworking it into a different thing. It is getting rid of the actual standing police department and doing more community policing, which is a completely different thing than what we do now.
The biggest problem is we are not this is not Star Trek. We are not in a society where we can't not have law enforcement. We have to have something.
Even Star Trek has a police force. They got security.
Sure, yeah, but it's not like, they don't have cops patrolling, San Francisco.
How do you know, man?
Star Trek.
You haven't seen it. They haven't shown us that. I bet there are.
I'll bet if they do, it's a dozen guys, or a dozen people. It's not, 3,000 or 10,000 police officers in the metro area. So anyway.
Well, we should move on.
We really should move on. Just, guys, once again, and closing on that, stay safe.
Oh, and
stay woke.
And hey,
stay informed.
Yes, and there is a honestly, I posted it on Facebook. It was something I shared on the Nerds page that I think is fantastic, and it is a nerd's point of view on this whole thing, and it explains the X-Men are about racism. If you didn't get it, you didn't get the X-Men. That it's so obvious that that's what it's about. It is.
You put that up. I shared it on my page. Mm-hmm. It is. It's all about, and I think it's worth kind of reviewing right now because it is true. All of that is very true. Let me see. Let me pull it up real fast.
You just locked up.
Oh, you just locked up.
Yeah, I think
the visual video just locked up.
Yeah, I think it's on your side.
Well, I can hear you.
Oh, there you are. You're moving again.
Am I moving again? Okay. So the X-Men is about civil rights. If you didn't get that, you didn't get the X-Men. Black Panther is also about civil rights. If you didn't get that, you didn't get Black Panther. Captain America literally fought Nazis. He is the embodiment of fighting the alt-right. If you didn't get that, you didn't get Captain America. The Empire was fascist in Star Wars. The Rebel Alliance are anti-fascists. If you didn't get that, you didn't get Star Wars. The Punisher isn't meant to be a role model for police or armed forces, so much so that the writers, the original creator, Jared Conroy, made him actively speak out about that in a comic book. If you didn't get that, you don't get the Punisher. Deadpool is queer. He's pansexual. Fact. If you didn't get that, you didn't get Deadpool. Star Trek is about equality of all genders, races, and sexualities. As early as the mid-'60s, it was taking a pro-choice stance and defending women's right to choose. One of its clearest themes is accepting different cultures and appearances and working together for peace. It's also anti-capitalist and pro-vegan. If you didn't get that, you didn't get Star Trek. Superman and Supergirl and a whole host of other superheroes are immigrants. The stance of those comics are pro-immigration and pro-equality and acceptance. If you didn't get that, you didn't get Superman and Supergirl. Stan Lee said racism and bigotry are among the deadliest social ills plaguing the world today. If you're bigoted or racist, you didn't get any of the characters Stan Lee created. The stories we grew up with all taught us to value other people and cultures and to treasure the difference between us. Only villains were xenophobic or sexist or racist or totalitarian. I can't understand how anyone can have missed that. If you're upset that there's a black Spider-Man or a black Captain America or a female Thor...
There's a reason I have a problem with that, though.
Ms. Marvel is Muslim, or that Captain Marvel was pro-feminism, or any of the other things right-wing fans, quote-unquote, say is, quote-unquote, stealing their childhood. You never got it in the first place. The things you claim are now pandering to the lefties were never on your side to begin with. If you consider yourself a fan of these things, but you still think the LGBTQ plus community is too in your face or have a problem with Black Lives Matter or want to take the country back from immigrants, then you're not really a fan at all. Geek culture isn't suddenly left-wing. It always was. You just grew up to be intolerant. You became the villain in the stories you used to love. Yep. And that's extremely, extremely powerful.
Yep.
And I was proud to have that on our page at Nerds with Alcohol, and I was proud to put it on my personal page. Guys, this is what we're fighting for right here. And I know I'm just giving you shit about the whole Thor thing.
Yeah, it's only because he is a Norse god. He is always that's what he's based on. Granted, I understand he's not the true Norse god of Thor, but in the way that the comics are, he actually was, and I just don't see how they could make Thor. I don't agree that Thor is a title.
Well,
so.
You don't have to worry about it anymore. The status quo is returned.
No, I do still have to worry about it because I have to watch Love and Thunder.
We'll see. See how that goes. What are you drinking anyway?
I am drinking. It's a liquor night. It's a liquor night? It's a liquor night. It's been a liquor week. I am actually drinking a bourbon from Woodford Reserve, and I even have a Woodford Reserve snifter here.
That's some nice bourbon. I had some of their bourbons. And,
yeah.
I'm still kind of new to the whole bourbon thing, and I got to admit, I've there's some nice stuff.
Good
stuff.
This is the Woodford Reserve Double Oaked. It is, here's the bottle right here.
Okay.
It is 45.2% alcohol, so 90.4 proof. It is a Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey finished in a second oak barrel. So it's aged in oak and then finished in a second oak barrel. It is part of their Barrel Finish Select series, I guess. It has a beautiful, beautiful brown coppery color.
Yeah, that's nice.
It's got really nice glass cling. You can see the tears coming down. You probably can't see it on the camera, but my glass is a little dirty. It has that strong alcohol aroma, but it also has like an apricot aroma and some vanilla. And I'm going to go ahead and take another sip here. This is one, I'm drinking it neat right now, and I actually have some ice here. I'm going to add some ice to it in a little bit because this is one that the flavor changes dramatically if you add ice or a little bit of water to the to it. It's good. It's really good both ways. It's just a matter of what you like. So, neat. It is. you get a lot of the oak flavor. There is some vanilla, a little caramel. It is absolutely delicious. It is actually one of the best. I will say it's probably one of the best bourbons I've had. It is very tasty, and the flavor just stays with you too. It just the oak flavor just sticks to the tongue. I'm gonna go ahead and add an ice cube, just a single ice cube here. As soon as I get one, oops, come here. There we go. We'll give that a second. Are you drinking anything tonight?
I am not. I didn't get a chance to get out to the liquor store to get anything new. All I've got is stuff I've reviewed a couple of times, and honestly, I don't know, man. The mood that I'm in these days, I either got to drink everything or not, or nothing. Like just numb the pain. So.
All right, so I added one ice cube, and I'm gonna take another sip here. And with that, it brings out even more of the oak. If you like that oak flavor in your whiskey or your bourbons,
Which I do.
Add one ice cube to it. Let it melt a little bit. Because really what it is so with whiskey and bourbon, if you add a little bit of water or an ice cube that then starts to melt, what you're doing is they call it opening it up. And what it does is it releases a lot of the aroma, and it doesn't really so much, if you only use a little bit, it doesn't really water it down that bad. And what it does is it opens it up, and it actually lets all the aromas come out stronger, so that you get more of the flavor. This is honestly, I think it's worth the money that I paid. I think it was $52 for the bottle. So it's a little bit pricier, but it was. I think it is completely worth it. It was it's absolutely fantastic. It is so good. If you can find it, like I said, Woodford Reserve Double Oaked, out of Kentucky, the Bourbon Trail down there.
Okay.
But yeah, absolutely fantastic. This doesn't really have bottle caps, but I would give it probably 4 3/4 bottle caps.
Nice, very nice. Yeah, I was thinking about picking up some more whiskey. Just still, and I had a whiskey night a couple weeks ago, and had another one. But just having just standard Jameson, was nice.
Jameson is good. That is one of my go-to whiskeys. I'm actually an Irish whiskey guy.
Sure.
Jameson, Bushmills to a lesser extent, although I've got some Bushmills that's really good, and I've had some Bushmills that was holy crap, 5-star, out of this world. It was also aged for 21 years, so. Tullamore is great.
Sure, Tullamore Dew. What about Dewar's? Is that an Irish whiskey? Or
that is a Scotch. Dewar's is a Scotch. And I think I've talked about it before. The difference between a bourbon, a Scotch, and a whiskey.
Yeah, that's a distillery.
Yeah, a bourbon's distilled once, a Scotch is distilled twice, and an Irish whiskey is distilled 3 times. Which is why an Irish whiskey is so smooth, because it's distilled that extra time.
I remember probably the best night I had drinking whiskey years ago. One of the guys who was he was a promotions guy at the Ren Fair. His Tim List, nice guy, really super good guy, and he had worked with the security team really closely all season, and at the end of the season, he showed up at our campground and gave us a bottle of whiskey, gave us a bottle of Jameson. It was a $150 bottle of Jameson. It was a larger size, and it was like 30 years aged or something like that. It was Jameson Gold or whatever the fuck it was, but it was pricey. And he handed it to me, and he goes, "Here, I just wanted to share it. Wanted to give this to you guys as a gift." And
yeah, I haven't had the gold.
We cracked that bad boy open and drank it around the campfire, just kind of sharing sips, and that was the best whiskey. Oh my god, it was incredible. I felt bad that we were not drinking it properly,
savoring
it and stuff. We're just like tossing it back. I mean, some of us were like, "Oh my god, this is amazing," Oh my God, you're right.
Yeah.
I mean, why are we drinking it like this? I don't know. I just need to drink it. It's incredible. It was really.
I don't think I ever realized that you were a whiskey guy, because
I've become more so. I mean, like I said, I'm still kind of, when it comes to drinking, I'm, drinking is not my biggest thing. So I've been learning over the last maybe 10 to 15 years what I like when it comes to drinking things that aren't, a fucking strawberry daiquiri or, whatever. I used to be one of those guys that was like, why can't it taste like fucking soda pop? I mean, when they started coming out with all these like different like malt liquor drinks, the different the alcoholic sodas and stuff like that, I was like, finally they're speaking to me. When cider became a lot more popular and a lot more prevalent and readily accessible, I was like, my God, thank God, this is incredible. Because for the longest time, you had to go to a specialty kind of place to get a woodchuck or a wood or a woodpecker or any kind of cider. If it was on tap, good Lord, good luck finding it.
Okay, Zima.
Yeah. Oh God.
No, that was from
Zima. Was not one of those ones that I liked, but I did drink Mike's Hard Lemonade.
Yeah.
And some of those other drinks like that. And but as I've gotten a little bit older and my palate has matured,
mm-hmm.
I have developed a taste for things like, like whiskeys and stuff like that.
Well, Renee and I, when we went to Ireland the first time, we actually brought back an 18-year-old bottle of Jameson. And then found out that we can get it here in the States for actually a couple bucks cheaper. But still, we brought it back and we invited all of our friends over that we knew were big whiskey drinkers. And we opened it up. We opened it up and set it down and said, "This bottle dies tonight." And we sat around and drank it. Now, we didn't just pass it around like at the fire. We actually poured. We actually poured it into glasses, and everyone drank it. And I will tell you what, that honestly, top of the list for any whiskey I've had. That was so good, and I really want another bottle of that. And someday I will get one. Actually, I want to get the Distiller's Reserve, I think it is, the next time we go over there, because you can only get that at the distillery. It's the only place you can get it.
I see. Well, next time you do something like that, you might want to give my happy ass a call.
Oh yeah, definitely. So to nerd news, we've gotten a lot. We got a bunch of stuff this week. Mandalorian season 2 has been confirmed. We've had lots of rumors and lots of different people have said that it's going to be out in October. But now Jon Favreau has actually confirmed that it will be out in October.
Well, good. Excellent. I mean, when the showrunner speaks up, then we know for sure that's going to happen. I'm excited. I think everything that I've seen so far looks really fucking great.
I want to see more on what's going on with Gideon, too. I want to learn more about him. One, I like the actor. I think he plays a great villain. And two, I just want to know more about the Darksaber, how he winds up with it. The fact that they're going to be bringing Katie Sackhoff in to play to do the role that she played on Clone Wars, and that at one point she had the Darksaber. That is something I want to see how that all plays out.
I really like Carlos Esposito. I think that's his name. The guy who plays that villain. He's played a lot of villains over the years, and he does a great job. He was a villain on
Revolution.
Revolution. He was really good in that. He was a villain in Breaking Bad. He was a serious villain.
Oh, was he? I haven't seen Breaking Bad yet.
Oh, Chris, you need to. That's a binging show.
Dude, we're binging Chuck right now. That Breaking Bad is down on the list.
We gotta put that on the list.
Yeah, which Renee is loving Chuck, by the way.
Oh, it's so good. I've been meaning to rewatch that too. And introduce that to Stella. I think she really got a kick out of it.
Dude, I am totally loving watching the show again too.
Oh, for sure.
It is such a good show. Doesn't age great, but it.
Well, I think any show that kind of centers itself around technology, like that one does, is going to be one of those shows where you're kind of like, well, this is not gonna. It kind of ages kind of funny. Just things like looking at their cell phones and the different things like that. It's let's see, Giancarlo Esposito.
Yes,
is his name, Giancarlo Esposito. He plays a lot of really great villains. Chuck was, and Chuck had a lot of great cameos, a lot of great, just various different actors that you're like, oh my God, I can't believe he did that, or he was in it, and stuff like that. Is so much fun.
Yes, imagine if Buffy had a cell phone, how many more people would be alive?
The interesting thing, I mean, she does end up getting a cell phone. She gets a pager at one point in the show. And I think she gets a cell phone near the end. Because near the end of the show is when cell phones were a lot more common.
Which is funny, actually. I was looking up the woman who plays Anna on Chuck. The one woman from that's in the Nerd Herd, the one that Morgan dates.
Yeah, sure.
Her first role is as potential number 2 on Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Oh, really? That's awesome. Oh, man. But yeah, it's just kind of funny. There's a lot of I'm looking up. I just looked up. Sorry, I'm just diverging a little bit. I just looked up Giancarlo Esposito. He was a regular on Sesame Street for a while. Oh shit! He was Mickey on Sesame Street. He was on the Electric Company. He was in Miami Vice. He was on in the movie Maximum Overdrive. A lot of little things, and then he was also one of those character actors. Just was in a lot of different things. Mm-hmm. So interesting. Chuck is once again one of those shows that just it's great for the whole family.
Mm-hmm.
It's great for people that if you're a fan of nerdy type of stuff and whatnot, you can like nerdy genre shows. You'll get into it if you are a fan of spy shows with some comedic flavor.
A lot of comedic flavor.
A lot of comedic flavor. Hell, if you just like Zach Levi.
Yeah.
I mean, he's great in the
dude,
show.
seeing him in that versus the way he looks now after he got all buffed for Shazam.
Jesus Christ. Yeah. And it's funny too because he's pretty buff. But then when he wears the Shazam costume, it's obviously padded. But he is still pretty buff.
Yeah.
A better example, honestly, is seeing him in the Marvelous Ms. Maisel. He's in the second season of that, and he's a big dude. Because he's like kind of skinny. He's still real lean and kind of thin in Chuck.
Yep.
And I think he kind of starts to bulk up a little bit in the last season. But in Ms. Maisel and stuff like that now, he's a bigger guy. I imagine that when he was filming Ms. Maisel, it was coming off of filming Shazam, so he was still kind of like in his bulky mode and stuff. I remember when people started criticizing him for for having the really like padded suit and everything, and then he went on Twitter or something and whatever and showed pictures of himself without a shirt on. He's like, I'm doing the work, guys. Doing the work. He may not be Henry Cavill, but he's doing the fucking work.
But you were talking about like guest appearances. But yeah, there's all sorts. Like the one we just watched today had Nicole Richie on it.
Yeah.
One of the ones we watched yesterday had Michael Clark Duncan.
Diedrich Bader was on it. He's the voice of Batman on Harley Quinn, and Diedrich Bader's a ton of shit.
Oh, the Drew Carey show.
Yeah.
He's on Space Force right now.
He's another one of those actors that you see just do a ton of stuff, and you're always like, oh, that guy.
He's like, he's also in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, the security guard.
He is.
What a beautiful tea party.
Oh, what a lovely tea
party. Yeah.
I still haven't watched that. I gotta sit down and watch the remake. So anyway, there's just a ton of great cameos. I mean, like, what's his name? Captain Archer from Discovery.
Oh, yeah. Don't say much, though, because that'll give some stuff away. It's,
right.
Yeah, Scott Bakula.
Scott Bakula.
Matt Bomer.
Linda Matt Bomer, Linda Hamilton,
Mm-hmm.
Chevy Chase
Yeah.
is in the
Oh,
first season. You know,
the one of the ones
couple
we just
episodes.
watched was the one with shit, what's his name from Night Court? Um, John Larroquette
Okay, yeah, sure.
as the
So
as the
yeah,
super spy.
yeah. I mean, there's so many great cameos and great guest stars and stuff like that. So, guys, if you really want a good, I mean, it's on Amazon Prime.
Yep.
Check it out. On the entire season, the series is really great. Let's see, where were we? So yes, the Mandalorian coming up real soon. That's really, I'm really excited. They are starting to reveal more and more stuff lately about what's coming up, about new shows and stuff like that. They have recently they had stated we had talked about how the actress who is playing Batwoman is no longer returning to the show. They are also instead of recasting, they're creating an entire new character to play Batwoman. Somebody that was apparently inspired by Batwoman is going to come in and be the new Batwoman, and they're going to write out Kate Kane. I don't know exactly what they're going to do and how they're going to do it, but all right, we'll see how that goes. And also in news, according to or relating to the Arrowverse,
I was going to bring this up.
the actor who played the Elongated Man, Ralph Dibny, apparently has been outed for some pretty shitty tweets he made about 8 years ago. Some really off-color jokes and comments and stuff like that, and has been fired from the show. Thankfully, he did make an apology, a public apology, and that's he's like to the extent of like, look, this isn't reflective of who I am now, and I've made mistakes, and he was basically thank you for calling me out, and stuff like that. He owned it, and good for him. That being said,
words matter now.
Words matter.
Well, words matter always, but
yeah, exactly. And he will not be on the show next season. They haven't stated as to whether they'll recast Ralph Dibny or if they'll just write him out. His name is Hartley Sawyer, by the way, Hartley Sawyer. My guess is that he will probably be written out. They'll probably just write out his storyline, which is a shame because it was kind of a fun character. It's cool. And I've always appreciated it, the Elongated Man in the comics.
Yes, as Renee just put it, internet is forever.
Internet is forever.
That's why I'm glad I grew up in the era that I did, because a bunch of the stupid shit that I did as a youth, which is nowhere near indicative of who I am today, there is no physical evidence of that anywhere.
There's some dumb shit we did back in the days, man, I'll tell you. But I will say I'm glad to see, like, it made me think. I've been seeing a lot of people being called out for racist tweets and comments.
Yeah, see, I never did anything quite like that.
No, me neither. I never did anything quite like that. But a friend of mine posted about a guy. He's a jouster that works with. It's one of the joust companies that I have worked with at other festivals, and the guy's a fucking monster. This dude the things that he posts are just horrible. And a couple of friends called him out. Basically, showed where they're presented it to the community, to the Renaissance Festival community, and basically was like, look, this is going on, guys. And apparently, from what I understand, the dude, because of some of his actions, some of the things that he's done and said, he has been banned from several Renaissance festivals. He's been moved out, and apparently the jousting company he was working for has categorically stated he will not be working for them anymore. But it made me think, have I ever made any kind of post or comment or anything like that could be misconstrued or I could be called out on? And I don't think I have. I would like to maybe go back on. I mean, I've had my Facebook for 10 years, so that'd be a lot of searching out and trying to find. But I'm pretty sure I've kind of stuck to my guns about being not a piece of crap. If I have, I don't know. People, let me know. Send me a direct message or something. But I like to think that sure, I've said dumb things over the years, but
I know I've said stupid shit,
or I've said something that sounded maybe bad, but I meant, oh wait, that's not what I meant. That's not what I meant. You know?
Yeah, I'm more likely to say something stupid in person than I am in text, because for me,
Exactly.
I start writing something and I reread it and go, oh no, that sounds really fucking dumb. No, I'm gonna change that.
Like it was funny. We were at Theater Bazaar. I think it was 2 seasons ago, and a friend of mine was doing makeup on another friend's chest, on her cleavage and whatnot. And I walked by. I was like, "Hey, wow, your chest looks really great." And that's what I just meant. The makeup looks really great. And they immediately went. Now they knew I was, but they still gave me a crap about it. And I'm like, guys, you both know I didn't mean anything by that. The paint job, the makeup looks, and shit like that. And it's just, you got to be careful what you say these days, for sure. And nothing is more telling about that kind of stuff than the internet, and then what we deal with on the internet and stuff. Okay. I was gonna. An excellent example, actually, of people that say shit sometimes that's misinterpreted. The artist Frank Cho, comic book artist and fantasy artist, digital art, or no, it's not digital artist, traditional artist. Frank Cho, known for work for both Marvel and DC, also did the
Liberty Meadows.
So one of the most popular Sunday Funnies there was before the end of the Sunday Funnies. Apparently, they still do print the Sunday Funnies, but the comics on the weekends, but they're not near what they used to be. He's been kind of called out for saying, like, not so PC things in the past, or he's more like a guy. It's more like he's like, guys, take a joke kind of thing. That's his. And I do very much appreciate him as an artist. I don't always agree with that kind of stuff.
His art is fantastic. I actually think he's fantastic.
I think basically his message is guys, we need to stop taking things so seriously. It's a comic book, that kind of thing. There are bigger issues to rage about than whether a comic book character, a female comic book character, is too curvy or not. But anyway, he kickstarted a book late last year, December of last year is when he started Kickstarter. It's his career retrospective. And the funny thing is, career isn't over. The dude's only in his late 40s, early 50s. I think he's like maybe 50, and maybe a couple years older than I am. But he's got a huge book that's coming out. I just got my thing from Kickstarter saying, hey,
he's
48. 48. Okay, so goddamn, he's only 2 years older than me.
He's a year younger than me.
The dude is so incredibly talented. And from what I understand, he was largely self-taught too. So I mean, he's kind of a prodigy in what he does. His new book is coming out. If you guys want to check it out, it's gonna be a 300-page hardcover, but they're also producing it in a paperback. You can get it. I'm gonna look up the name real quick. I just gotta pull up my Kickstarter and find out the exact name. But it is available. You don't have to have Kickstarted it. They made plenty, thankfully. If you want to get it, it's The Art of Frank Cho, a 20-year retrospective. And a gorgeous 300-page collection showcasing over 400 examples of comic and illustration art by Frank Cho. So, yeah, I think you can get like a paperback version for $40, and then the hardcover is like $60. This is a pretty good sized book. And so they're going to be sending that out pretty soon. But pulling up Kickstarter made me think of what do we talk about on this show a lot? But Critical Role.
Yes.
I have not yet. There hasn't been. They've been pretty quiet about the Legend of Vox Machina cartoon over the last couple of months. They did state about how they were halting work on it during the coronavirus, the problem of coronavirus. The last update that we got looks like at the end of March. And they were talking about how they were sending out some of the things that, some of the stretch goals and stuff like that and they actually put that up with a karaoke music video for the Your Turn to Roll song.
Yeah.
Which is kind of fun. And it said, the legend of Vox Machina is being created by an incredible team of worldwide creatives, and it is of the utmost importance to us that everyone remains healthy. We're taking our time to learn how to work together in such a new, ever-changing environment, which includes keeping all staff working from home whenever and wherever possible. We're spending the next few weeks evaluating what this may mean for the release of our series, as well as our Kickstarter reward shipment timeline. As soon as we have more information, we'll share with you right here on Kickstarter. We hope that you're safe, healthy, and in good spirits. We'll be in touch soon with more updates. Don't forget to love each other. Critical Role. Now, unfortunately, I haven't seen any other updates, and it has been several months. April, May, over 2 months. So I would love to see some kind of update on what's going on here. So it is being worked on. I mean, they got $11 million, and I trust them to continue.
And Amazon started backing them, so.
And Amazon backed them too for a second season. So we shall see. Originally, it was $11,385,449. So 88,887 backers. I want one more person to back it. Just one more person. It'd be 88,888. Wouldn't that be awesome? Anyway, goddamn. So, originally they had stated fall of 2020 we were going to see it. Mm. Now, because of this, I would imagine that.
I'm guessing it's going to be at spring, is what I'm thinking. Next year. Spring 21.
Christmas. If it's supposed to.
We'll see.
If it's supposed to come out at this time, at fall of 2020, maybe for Christmas of 2020, we'll see. But I think that would be something we'd really like to see. I've been in my watching of Critical Role. I'm in the late 50s.
Yeah, I actually still have to finish up the last 2 episodes. So, no, we're not doing a slap bet.
What?
Renee just asked if we wanted to do a slap bet. If we do a slap bet for the, the slap bet from How I Met Your Mother. Yeah,
I'm not doing a slap bet.
No slap bets.
But yeah, I'm on.
I'll bet you a drink, but that's a.
I'm on episode 58 of the, from last year. It was literally roughly a year ago that this was that I'm at, and that was right at the end of the of the whole thing when they topped it out at 8.8 million, and they were like, that we're done with stretch goals. Anything more that we get, we're just going to add to making it more and more awesome. And then they got like $3 more million, so. Or $2.5 more million. So, I'm really kind of Critical Role. How about Matt? How about kind of some kind of update? Give your fans, give your critters an update as what's going on. And
if you want to do it live on Twitch, come on the show.
Come on the show. Let us know, man.
Let us know, man. We'll get you on. We'll give you a couple minutes to talk about it. We'll be happy to help you out with that, because
I hope if I ever get a chance to meet him, I'll go. So, my buddy Ed is a good friend of Jessica Chobot. He got a message from you. That made us all squeal like little girls. What I'd really like. I mean, it's funny in this age where so many people are doing gaming, D&D gaming, mobile D&D gaming, like we are, and like a lot of other people are. I'm really surprised that pretty much the grandparents of the modern role-playing game movement that has been happening over the last 7, 8 years or so, aren't doing a mobile gaming station like so many of us are. I mean, the cast of the guild, gotten together.
They actually talked about it when this first all happened. And they said that they had discussed the idea of doing a virtual tabletop, doing something like on either Fantasy Grounds or Roll20 or something like that, and they decided against it. They said it wouldn't be the same, so they weren't going to do that. They were going to wait until everything cleared, and they could be back together in the studio.
what's interesting because I mean at this point aren't things more cleared? I mean states are starting to reopen,
Yep.
things are starting to get a little better. I mean I'd like to see,
I mean,
it would be great to see some kind of response from them. Coming out from Critical Role would be really great. Just kind of the state of the union kind of thing. I'd love to see what's going on.
state of the show type of thing.
The show, exactly. Now, at the same time, I haven't been watching all of their, like I said, I'm still behind on the show, and I haven't been watching a lot of the other content that they've been putting on their page at the moment, on their Twitch. So maybe they have addressed it, and some of the other shows, like, some of the things that they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And if they are, yeah, let us know. That'd be great. But in the meantime, I'd like to see an update as to what's going on with this Critical Role cartoon, because I'm still super excited about it, and I really, really want to see it.
Yeah, I really would like to know what's going on with it too. So, that said, speaking of Critical Role and somebody that we talk about on this show all the time, Ginny D, today is her birthday.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I saw her post that. She's always been. She hasn't really. I know a lot of people have asked what her age is and stuff like that, and she's never actually said. Today, she actually said.
Oh yeah.
Today is her 30th birthday.
Oh yeah. Okay, great. Well, good for you. Welcome to your 30s, Jenny D.
Yep. Happy birthday. She said she's actually doing a video that's going to come out in a couple of days about actually like getting into your 30s and.
Well, she still looks like she's 16. So.
Well, and that's one of the things she actually wants to talk about is the fact that the idea that, you don't look 30 is considered a compliment to women, and what kind of message that is to how we value women and the looks and things like that. So, but she does look very young. But I think that's just she has a young face. I mean, there are people like when I don't have my beard, Renee says I lose 15 years. She's like, you don't look as old as you are. There are some people that just have that baby face. Fred Savage.
For sure.
It looked like a kid forever.
He still looks younger than he is. You know? People have said for the longest time, and I still get people surprised when they find out how old I am. Now, granted that number has been dwindling. all through my 30s, people were like, "You're in your 30s? No kidding." Once I hit 40, people were still, "Wow, you're 40? I would have guessed maybe 32." And oh, thank you very much. Now I'm 46, and they're still surprised, but that number gets shorter and smaller. And smaller. Oh, man, I would have guessed maybe 40, 41. You're 46. Huh? Yeah. Just because I don't have a ton of gray here, I think shaving my beard off did shave off some years. That's for sure. So, hi, Dressing.
Yeah, but a lot of people say that you really need to grow the beard back.
That's such a great statement too. You used to be handsome when you had a beard. You looked so good when you had a beard. Now you look like shit. Yeah, it's such a great statement.
But speaking of D&D too, we did have our game last week.
Yes, we did.
I thought that was really good. Yeah, got some character development, some backstory on one of the characters.
Exactly. And we hit level 4.
And you hit level 4. Level 4.
Level 4. Lots of fun, man.
Yep.
Gotta love that.
Some people knew exactly what they wanted to do. Some people were like, I don't know what I want to do.
Yeah. It took me a few to kind of decide. I ended up just opting for upping my my stats, my strength and my con. I'll tell you, this paladin I'm playing, he's the most fucking badass, like physically badass. I've never had, guys, for those of you who play in D&D, I mean, I have 3-7. After I had the rate, because he's an Azamar, after I upped a couple of his stats from the racial adjustments, I had 3 17s. 3 17s, a 15. I can't remember all the other ones, but nothing is under 12.
Yeah.
So I just upped my strength in con to 18. This character is boss, man. He is a badass motherfucker. And I've been playing gaming. I've been gaming since I was fucking like 8 years old. I've been playing D&D, and I've never had a character. And I didn't fudge it. I just rolled the fucking dice, and I got ridiculous numbers. You were there.
Yep.
I rolled the character up when, and I'm just like, holy shit.
Several of the characters in the group have really crazy stats. I love that the bard is his dump stat was int, so he has like a 7 int, and so he, whenever it comes, he's like, oh, can I check that? Yeah, do a history check. He's like, oh fuck,
man.
Like, you're a bard. Most of your stuff is knowledge based.
But he got really, really high charisma.
He does. He is very charismatic.
Which means he's very, very handsome, and he talks a good game. He's just dumb.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I'm playing in another game. I'm playing a cleric. He's a centaur, and his dump stat was 8. Or his dump stat was intelligence, and it's 8. And he's got a wisdom of 16. So I play him off to be kind of a country bumpkin that doesn't know anything about the city, and but he's wise and tells stories of his hometown, and they're all like stories of wisdom and stuff like that. So there's a lot of ways you can play that off. Just because a character has an 8 intelligence doesn't necessarily mean he's really stupid.
Right.
It just may mean he's uneducated or just not knowledgeable. So. So that's how I'm playing my centaur. There is a new book coming out. I don't know, for those of you guys who've seen it, the new supplement for D&D coming out, the Odysseys of Theros. It is directly related to to Magic the Gathering and the content from Magic the Gathering, but it's also meant to evoke the aesthetics of Greek mythology. So I believe it's available on D&D Beyond now, and it will be available as a hardcover soon. And it's got some really cool stuff. It's got centaurs and satyrs as a player race. It's got a lion men as a race, separate from the cat people.
The
that
Tabaxi.
you can already play the Tabaxi. There's a couple other kind of cool things. I think there's like a Triton or some like a aquatic man. Aquatic race, and some pretty cool stuff. And like I said, I've always been a big fan of the Greek myths, so integrating that into Dungeons and Dragons for me is kind of cool.
And see, for me, I was always a big fan of the Greek myths too, but I've never wanted to actually integrate that in with D&D so much. I like the idea of doing like the Greyhawk deities or the Forgotten Realms deities, because they're not bound into those original those other stories. You can make them your own. You can. That's what I like about Greyhawk too. Is Greyhawk, well, it is the original world and it has a rich history. I still feel like I can play with it. I can still make it my own. Whereas Forgotten Realms has so many fucking novels that I don't feel like I can actually do anything because the history is all there.
I feel you on that, yeah. There isn't quite as much background, like, novels and stuff for Greyhawk, so yeah, I can play with it a little bit, muss with it. I think the Forgotten Realms is kind of built to be the D&D, the standard D&D world, so a lot of people are like, when they play in that setting, they don't fuck with it at all. They're just playing in the setting. So, it's still cool though. Oh, fun. There's something here. They officially started production on Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse 2.
Awesome.
So the sequel to the animated, the breakout hit of 2018, Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse 2. The release date for that is April 8th of 2022. They did delay, the coronavirus did delay that a bit, pushed it back a bit further, but now they have started production.
And I just happen to be wearing Spider-Man today too.
Excuse me. Yeah, you are. Exactly. Cool. Actually, no. My bad. Release date now is October 7th of 2022. It was pushed back from April 8th. So you can want to check that out. For big comic book fans, some news was released was posted today. Brian Michael Bendis, famous for being pretty much one of the top guru writers of Marvel Comics, 2 years ago left Marvel and went to DC Comics, and has been shaking things up and changing things. Most notably, he has taken on Superman and the writing chores and duties on Superman. Now he's really shaking some things up. One thing, he introduced Jonathan Kent, Superman's son. He brought back Superman's red trunks, which, love him or hate him, it's kind of a traditional thing. He is passing the 2-year mark and is getting ready to finish up his time on the Superman comic book. Now, he hasn't said whether he's leaving Action Comics. He was writing Superman and Action. But he said he's getting ready to kind of finish up the storyline that he has created. He also has been writing Legion of Superheroes, bringing on a new version of the Legion of Superheroes, a comic book in DC Comics, or from DC Comics, that we haven't had for a number of years. So it's nice to see that return. It's been pretty cool, actually, particularly the new art and the new designs and everything. Bendis has very much got a great idea of what the future would. I like his vision of the DC future. It's really cool. And having Ryan Sook on the art, doing on the art chores, and his designs are very progressive, very, very cool. But yeah, now having introduced big changes, he also was the man behind Superman revealing his identity to the world, telling everybody that he's Clark Kent. So, some big deal changes. They've established there is, there is a super family these days now. You've got Supergirl, you've got Superman, you've got Superboy, Jonathan Kent, but then there's also the other Superboy, Connor Kent, who was the Superboy from the 90s that came out of the Death of Superman storyline. He has been returned to the post-rebirth DC universe. They're still working out the details, but it has been pretty much explained that Connor is from a rebooted universe. He's a holdover from a rebooted universe, and so they're going to be working him in. There's going to be pretty much 2 Superboys, and I ain't mad at it. I think that's kind of cool. I'll see how the dynamic is between Superman's kid brother and Superman's son, and see how that works out, because Superman's son went from a 10-year-old to a 17-year-old, so he changed rather dramatically. I think it would have been a lot cooler if maybe Connor had stayed the teenager and Jonathan was still the 10, 11, 12. I think that would have been a cooler dynamic instead of got 2 guys right around the same age. But it's still, I like what Bendis has done with Superman. I think he's done some of the coolest stuff that still is very much Superman. It's still sticking close to the mythos and what we want from a Superman comic, but he's moving forward. He's not being static, and I think that's one of the problems that Superman has kind of suffered from over the years, depending on the writers. People will go and gripe about big changes, like killing him off or bringing him back with different power set when he was the Electric Superman for a while, or things like that. Things like that are too far afield. But something like Superman dealing with having a son, I'm okay with that. That's an evolution of the character without being without straying too far from his roots. Mm-hmm. That's my opinion anymore. So anyway, but yeah, Bendis, keep up the good work. I think he's doing a bang up job. It's going to be. We're also going to be seeing some weird things from DC Comics because of their break from Diamond Distribution. They're going to be distributing their comics through 2 other distributors as opposed to Diamond now. So that's giving those other distributors a pretty big jump by taking away one of the 2 largest clients from Diamond and giving it to these 2 other companies. Diamond has taken a big hit on that one, that's for sure. But I think it's probably going to be, ultimately, I think it's going to be good, because Diamond had a stranglehold on the distribution industry when it came to the comic book periodical industry. That was, I don't know. I mean, didn't have too much else. Oh, well, we should probably discuss the trailer that got dropped today.
And that was I was waiting to get a word in edgewise to be able to bring that up. I was letting you get through your comic news and
comic news.
And
today on comic news.
Yes.
All right. Yes. The trailer that dropped today. I think you were the one that posted it
Yes.
on the page. I watched it, laughed my skinny ass off. Why don't you take it from there, Chris?
Well, today they dropped the trailer for Bill and Ted Face the Music, the first trailer for it. It arrives this summer. There's still no saying. Still not saying whether it's actually a theatrical release or if it's going to go straight to VOD. I have a feeling that it, like a lot of things this summer, are going to go straight to VOD, especially with things like AMC saying they're not going to survive COVID, that they are about to close their doors permanently, which to me sucks.
Well, if that's the case, if something like that happens, it just means that one of the other companies will come in and buy out those theaters and reopen them.
Yeah, or somebody will come in and another company will start up or something like that. But yeah. So Bill and Ted Face the Music trailer dropped today. Honestly, it looks fantastic. The whole concept of that they haven't written the song that saves the world, and they just can't do it. And they're like, you 20 years ago, you played this arena and in front of 60,000 fans, and last week you played a bar in this podunk town for 40 people that were mostly there for $2
taco night. Yeah.
and he's like, well, wait, why don't we got a time machine, why don't we just go to the future and to when we've written the song and steal the song and bring it back? Well, isn't that stealing? Well, not if it's from ourselves.
From us, yeah. And then they appear, and it's like they're in a prison.
Yeah.
And both Bill and Ted are all jacked up.
Yeah.
Did
you listen to our song?
What'd you think? It was kind of dark, man. Kind of dark, dude, but okay,
and they got tattoos that one says "Be excellent" and the other one says "To each other" or something like that.
Yeah, and they're obviously wearing like rubber muscle shirts and shit. Bill's bald and Ted's got a mohawk, and I don't know, man. I think this is going to be really fucking funny because I'm glad that everybody that was involved with the originals are involved with this. Mm-hmm. So it's not like a bunch of people that don't know what the fuck they're doing are gonna we can write a sequel.
Yep.
I'm hoping for good things. I love that they got Bill Sadler back to play Death again. Yeah. And it looks really fucking funny. What really is going to be impressive to me is seeing those two actors just fall back into those characters really easily.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like. It looks like, it looks like Bill and Ted, from what I understand, they got older. They had families. They didn't end up doing what they were supposed to do, and now they're getting called out by the future. Well, we're waiting,
Well,
and I think their daughters are getting married or something. That's another
probably,
part of the thing too. And part of the storyline. So it just seemed to me that the two of them really kind of like I said, just kind of fell right back into those characters and are having a good time.
Well, I really enjoyed a couple of the comments that we got today on the Facebook page too, and that was 6/9 was the teaser trailer release date. 69, dude. Airplay guitar. I'm so excited.
That's awesome. I didn't realize, but that's cool.
Yep. And 69, dude. And then the other one was, after binging John Wick in the last 48 hours, I'm not ready for this.
That's from Gary. That's a buddy of mine. Yeah, that's funny, man. I didn't realize. And Christina Nightingale, yeah, she's a friend from Fair and stuff. That's great. I like I said, I'm super excited for this. I think this is gonna be good.
I think so too.
I have a good feeling about it. It's just funny too because it really looks like Keanu Reeves. Keanu Reeves is Bill, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. He's Ted.
Ted. that Ted kind of like, I don't want to say he's sold out, but he's like, he looks like a middle-aged dad. I mean, he just
Well, he still got the longer hair.
longer hair, but he's walking around in a pink button down. I mean, he's not a rock and roll guy anymore. I don't know.
I still love the theory that in the alternate universe is that Ted actually gets sent to the military academy and winds up growing up and becoming John Wick.
That's awesome. Oh man, I'll tell you, man, those John Wick movies were the fucking shit.
I haven't seen any of them.
Awesome.
They're on my list. They are near the top of my list of movies that I need to see, but I have not seen them.
Stop fucking around and watch them because they are really.
I got
good.
other things to do, like a show.
Yeah, you got to watch things for the show too. Take a couple hours off of Chuck and watch John Wick.
Well, that's the thing is I have to watch John Wick without Renee because she won't watch it because the dog dies.
Right. I also have been trying to get caught up on watching some of the DC animated films. I recently did watch the John Constantine City of Demons movie, which I think I was telling you about. It is an R-rated cartoon. It is really good, but also does not pull any punches. It's very bloody. It's gory. It's and it's fucked up, but it's good. And the guy who's been voicing and playing Constantine for the last few years does a great job. He does it in this show too. So if you get the chance, it's pretty cool. I believe it is streaming on the DC streaming app. I also watched the new Wonder Woman one that came out, I think, 2 years ago, Bloodlines or Blood Ties or something like that. And it starts off with a kind of the New 52 origin of the origin of this version of Wonder Woman that's in these shows, with where she starts off in the more classic Wonder Woman costume and then comes to Man's World, and then she puts on the uniform that she ends up wearing in the more of the animated films, and then ends up back in the traditional Wonder Woman outfit. But it's really pretty cool. It's good, and it has an underlying story about mothers and daughters, and yeah, pretty good. Not bad at all.
I mean, we got to wrap up here soon, but
sure.
But speaking of animated shows, are you caught up on Harley Quinn?
I believe I am. Yes.
The Bachelorette Party.
Bachelorette Party.
On Themyscira.
Yeah. So good, guys. So fucking good. Poison Ivy's getting married to Kite Man. So they go to.
But keep sleeping with Harley.
Then they get drunk and end up in bed together twice.
Oh fuck!
And this can't happen again. And one of my favorite parts though was when for the bachelor party, it's Kite Man and King Shark and the plant.
Yeah,
remember his name.
Yeah, the plant and
Clayface.
Yeah.
On a boat, and they're putting a puzzle together on a boat. It's the fucking bachelor party ever. And
Kite Man's like, I think I got some tunes here. Hold on. Oh no, I don't.
And then a fucking Jamaican lobster shows up, and that he's been looking for King Shark, and King Shark's like, oh no,
and hiding inside.
King Shark's real name is NWA or something like that, and he's a prince of the Shark Nation underneath the sea, and he's got to go, and he's going through an arranged marriage to the princess of the Hammerhead Shark Nation, and they go underwater, and this shark, King Shark, is talking to this lobster. He's like, well, what's so great about it down here? And they basically sing a song. They sing a song. It's a Disney parody. Kind of sing a song about how the entire ocean is your toilet.
Yep.
So you can, no matter where you are, you can poop wherever you want under the ocean.
Yep, and it's all these fish pooping everywhere.
Yeah. Oh my God. It was messed up and geniusly hilarious. Man, it's crazy. But no, some really, really good stuff. And so now, didn't they? That was the previous episode. Wasn't the episode after that where? Yeah, where Harley is. She's in Gotham again, and she wanted to go drinking to try to kind of forget and stuff. And she
with the stuff with Ivy.
Yeah, and with all the stuff that's going on with Ivy. So she ends up going to the one bar that's still in town because apparently the parademons are now plaguing Gotham because she brought an army of parademons to Gotham and then just went, fuck them, I don't want them anymore. And so they're flying all over the place and kind of, plaguing the city. She goes to Wayne Tower, where it's the only place that's safe.
Wayne Bar.
And the guy behind the counter is the Joker, who doesn't remember being the Joker. He's like cured and doesn't remember. And they figured out that he knows where the Justice League is. He knows they're in.
He's been having dreams.
He's been having dreams. And he knows that the Justice League, because they had disappeared at the end of the previous season, they had been all sucked into the Queen of Fables book. And that they're still there. But he doesn't know where the book is. So Harley's got to go and fucking dunk this guy back in the chemicals to hopefully bring him back as the Joker, so that she can find out where the hell the Justice League is.
Yep.
So they can save the day. And
that's where they ended the show.
Right. That's where they ended the episode. And you're like, Jesus, it's so good. It's so fucking good, guys. I can't stress this enough. If you're not watching Harley Quinn, and you're a fan of
it's worth
the character, the fan of DC Comics, fan of all this stuff, it is worth it.
It is worth the DC subscription.
It's definitely not canon. It's definitely not the prime. In fact, I would love it if they would actually establish that this show is one of the established multiverse of the DC universe. Right? It has not. But it has not been established as such. But it's so fucking good.
And the whole thing with the bat plane and Gordon.
Oh my God! They've done so much more with Jim Gordon this season. He's so funny. And that's the guy who played Elliot Stabler on SVU for the longest. That's I'm blanking on his name right now. But
Chris something.
Chris Maloney.
Yeah.
Maloney. Yeah, it's funny when I close my eyes, I kind of hear him, but he does definitely change his voice a little bit. It's not his normal voice. He does adjust his voice for that.
Well, dude, now that I got HBO Max, I'm going back and watching Big Bang, and whenever I hear Penny talk, all I hear is Harley.
Yeah. Fuck. I love it when she pushed him into the chemicals, and she was like, "See you soon, Mr. J," and she kind of did the accent a little bit. That's the thing. She talked about it in an interview about how she felt that her version of the character didn't the accent wasn't right for her version of the character, the way she was playing the character. Although when she went to visit her family, she did fall back on having that accent again. So it's almost like Harley stopped doing that accent to get away from, she worked out that accent to get away from her past.
Yep.
So I was okay, I'm okay with that. But I actually really like Kaylee Cuoco's, what she's been doing, and saw an interview with her and Lake Bell, who plays Ivy, and about how they're like, oh no, this is totally not for kids. There's only a certain number of fucks that they can use per episode, and that they'll argue, oh, did Ivy use the last F-bomb? Damn, So, anyways, you guys check it out. Holy shit, it's so fucking good.
All right, well, we should wrap things up.
Yes, we should wrap things up. Guys, again, thanks for joining us for this in this ongoing pandemic / revolution that we're experiencing. I hope you guys are all staying safe and being good to each other. And like I said, stay informed, stay educated.
Record everything.
Don't look at the fringe, far right and far left stuff. That's the dangerous talk right there. You know, those are the ones that are the conspiracy theorists and the ones that are like the dangerous kind of things that talk. We need to listen.
I try and
to what
get some news from outside the country too. I look at BBC a lot to see what they're saying. And I'm sorry, real quick though, dude, did you see Justin Trudeau's thing where he was asked about Trump and his handling? It was a 21-second pause while he thought about what to say.
It's amazing. Why can't we have a leader like Justin Trudeau?
Oh, he's got some problems too. I know some people from Canada, and they're not real happy with Trudeau either. But
he is a million times better.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I would take half a Trudeau for all of Trump. I would take the bottom half of instead of all of Trump.
But you could see on his face, it was just, why the fuck did you ask me that? It was like,
and you know, he had to have. I'll bet you any money that he did that on purpose. He already had a something, you know, in the works.
Yes, a whiff of Trudeau.
Yeah, exactly. He had he had something prepared, but he did that for dramatic purpose. I'll bet you any money.
No, I don't know that he did, because you see him, and there's a couple times where he goes, and he stops himself. Like he's about ready to say something, and he's like,
you can hear him like lick his lips and kind of,
and he sighs a couple of times. Yeah. It was incredible.
It is so good. Let's see, filibuster Russ today. Yeah, you ain't kidding, man. I'm just kind of looking at a couple of other things. So yeah, it's funny. You're breathing poop.
Yeah. You're catching up on the messages in the chat.
So guys, like I said, just keep yourself informed and remember that remember to vote. I got my absentee or my mail-in vote thing in the mail yesterday. If I can go to a voting booth in November, I will. But otherwise, I do have this in case I need to. And just keep an open mind. Everybody keep an open mind. That being said, ladies and gentlemen, you guys can stream us and download us and all the places you can find quality podcasting. Ladies and gentlemen, we are available on iTunes, the Google Play Store, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, and radio.com. You can also stream and download all of our episodes at our website at nerdswithalcoholshow.com.
And you can follow us on most of the social medias. We are on Facebook, Nerds with Alcohol Show. We are on Twitter at Drinking Nerds. Instagram, Drinking Nerds. Obviously, here on Twitch, Drinking Nerds. And...
also on YouTube.
Yeah, we are here on here on Twitch, Drinking Nerds, and you can also find us on Untapped. Just search for Drinking Nerds, send us a friend request, and we'll get you added.
If you missed the show on Tuesdays, we put it up on Thursdays on YouTube.
Yep,
as well.
on YouTube, also Drinking Nerds.
Yes, be sure to, guys. The more viewers we get, the more followers we get, the better it is. Yeah. Tell your friends about us.
Yeah, give us a follow, which is up there somewhere, I think.
Somewhere around there. I don't know. I think it's down below. Yeah, it's down below.
Oh, okay. Down there?
Anyway, yeah, something like that. Maybe? I don't know.
It's over there.
Where's the pool? It's over there. All right. Anyway, guys, I'm out of here. It was great show, Chris. Thank you very much.
Yep. Good time.
On that note,
wait, let me grab the glasses. On that note, until next time, Slancha.
Hey, sounded good.
All right, have a good week, everybody.
Good night.